You're listening to Heroes of New Halcyon, a City of Mist game. Arc 1, Episode 9, Someone I Don't Recognize. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Heroes of New Halcyon, a City of Mist game for Crane Minute Actual Plays. My name is Caleb Wade. I am your MC for this lovely, lovely game. Unfortunately, Theta cannot be with us, so Kanchana will be off investigating a few things on their own. We'll catch up with them a little later. Again, my name is Caleb Wade. My pronouns are he, they, and I will be the voice of, well, I guess, narration and all of the NPCs. And with me are three wonderful, fantastic players. If you'd like to introduce yourselves, let's start with Alana.
Hi, my name is Alana Duran. My pronouns are she, they, and I will be playing Kate.
Angela.
Hello there, my lovely darlings. It's good to be here again. My name is Angela. I use she, her pronouns, and Minerva is who I will be playing during this game.
And last but certainly not least, Ash.
Hi, I'm Ash. I'll be playing Fern. Both of us, he, him pronouns.
Oh, listener, the visual bits that you are missing that you will never see because this is not a visual medium. Shall we go over what happened last time? Unfortunately, it was a cursed session that we recorded. But we did get some stellar moments, like Fern sending a heart to Rhiannon.
First time figuring out how to send emojis and whatnot.
And also running into someone who may or may not be tied with the Harpy Initiative, named Rain. There was also Minerva helping move Kate out of Celeste and Allison's apartment.
Where Minerva discovered that apparently Kanchana can now also duplicate themselves to create two agents of chaos in Minnie's life.
There was also Kate talking to Celeste about the morality behind telepathy.
And clearly not listening very well, but we'll get there.
Also, Allison revealing that she may or may not be as normal as Minerva thought.
The joke's on you. Minerva already thinks she's odd because she likes her.
That's adorable and so sad.
Oh, why?
Because I am here for blood, and all of that blood is emotional.
Fine, fair enough. You win this round.
Well, you know what they say, two can dance that dance. We ended in a peculiar spot because as the team was, as our flock, that's our crew name, I believe, the flock. As the flock decided on what to do next, and Kate's like, morality, what's that? I don't know what that is. I can just pop into someone's head and get information. And I was like, I don't know if I can handle this right now, actually. It's just hitting me that my mother is dead, and I need to step out for a little bit of air. Excuse me. And
More or less, yeah.
we pick up in the moments just after, where after Kanchana has helped comforted Minerva, Kanchana has decided to start their own investigation, and we are at a crossroads where the party will be split for the first time.
Dun, dun, dun!
Dang it, Ash, you stole my joke.
So let me see if I can roll a d3 on Roll20. I probably can. Minerva, you were going to look at the bureaucratic side of things. Check in on your job. It's been a bit.
It only feels like it's been a couple of days, but it's definitely been more than a couple of days just to see how things are going.
It's been... Since you got the news, it's been at least a week.
Yeah, person covering for me is probably reaching their limits, so it's definitely a time that I need to come back
That
and
would
check.
be Bryce.
Yeah, Bryce is sweet. Also, probably as burned out as I am, so I should
Mhm.
probably go and check in at the shelter and see how things are going.
So as you walk into the shelter, everything seems to be normal. Everything seems to be running fine. Everyone's in their places working on things, and you see Bryce slightly disheveled. Clearly slept here. With some bags under his eyes, and he goes, "Oh, Minerva, hi, hi,
Oh
hey,
no.
Minerva."
Bryce, did they switch you over to the overnight shift after I needed some time?
No, 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 no. I chose it. I chose it because you're my friend, and you needed time, and I understand. And gosh, why did I do this?
Yeah, I was waiting for that part to come out.
You know what's funny? After around let's say 18 hours of no sleep, it's never really went without at least 10 before, and I've learned things about myself, Minerva. That's it's not great. Well, it's not that they're bad. It's just that they weren't like anything I expected. Like, for example, I don't think I enjoy the presence of birds as much as I do,
Uh,
but very specific birds like seagulls. I have not been near a seagull in 6 months, but I know that if I see a seagull, it's on site. What am I supposed to do with this information, Minerva? I don't know. By the way, here's the Katanagi case that I wanted. You were specifically asked to look over this.
gotcha. Bryce, just as a
Yeah,
this is a quick check-in. How many of me or just people in general in this room are you seeing right now?
only singles of the people around me, thankfully.
Okay, because I don't know how bad it's gotten for you if you're anywhere near the level I was at in like undergrad, where I used to actually hallucinate other people being in the room. But I think she like
So you
she doesn't.
didn't. So you didn't walk in with a parrot.
No,
I mean, I knew that, but I mean, I
I'm
thought that
gonna
was like a festive. I thought it was a festive choice. Like it has
I
like red and do parrots do parrots come without green? I don't know. It's more bird things.
she like
I
grabs
don't know
Bryce by
why.
the shoulder. She's like, Bryce, go
Hi,
home.
cool.
Go sleep in your bed,
Uh-huh.
please.
Yeah.
Also, like gives if it's okay with them, just
He him.
he. If it's okay with him, she like leans over and like gives him like a peck on the head, and it's just like, you are an absolute sweetheart, and I am so sorry for making you be on for this long. It has been a lot just trying to get used to family and such again. It's yeah.
I get it. I get it. Sleep and then maybe a date night with Alex. I think that'd be good. Yeah.
Go
Yeah. Okay.
go be with some. Go be out of
Bye.
this place. Yeah.
And then Bryce kind of like kind of searches for his keys, but then realizes they're like on his lanyard, which is on his arm, and then he pulls is like, got him. And then just walks out of the shelter.
She. So I don't know, Caleb, if you had a sense of in mind of describing the shelter space at all, because I've only been in like a couple of different ones before.
I mean, if you have if you have more of an
Well,
idea, like feel free.
I think it depends on how we want to like build this out, because one of the shelters that I was previously working at was more like an old furnished home that was repurposed for like more youth care related like housing, whereas
Mm-hmm.
if it's more like, I guess for lack of better phrasing, traditional style shelter, it might just be, here is a space, here's bunk beds in this area, and that's about all you get. Like there's not really that much, or there even if you even get bunk beds like cots.
I mean, I'd say it would probably depend on how Minerva wanted to go about it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's
I,
fair.
I would say, maybe think legal things. You don't want to stuff too many people into a room.
Yeah, it's
And you
kind
want
of
to have like a common area, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I could probably imagine this has been like part of the harder part is that while she works with less people, there it's more like what feels like a traditional housing kind of space. So because of that, there's its own problems. Like, do folks do chores related to like bathroom stuff consistently? Do folks clean their rooms? Are the common spaces actually attended to? Do we ever get enough money for like to try and provide meals on a weekly basis for folk? Because
Mm-hmm.
I worked in like a weird program when it comes to those things. But I was kind of imagining it's a little bit like that. And like we don't really have like an office. It's just sort of like a back room space. We put case files and all the like particular like important folders and stuff in. But it was the Katanagi case you said?
The Katiyanagi case,
Katiyanagi.
yes.
Yeah, I think she probably just goes over there. If there's any other residents who are here, she just like checks in because it's been a little bit, making sure that she reminds them she still exists and works here. It's just
Mm-hmm.
been a bit of a time.
And they're happy to see you. Like they share their condolences, and uh, they're doing okay.
That's good to hear. She has a huge weight on her shoulders lifted from like being around, and I think she's had that creeping sense in her mind that however much time she's been away, it's like that's time they could have been here, and it's just been waiting for a catastrophe to happen. But
Mm-hmm.
it's just anxiety talking. It's just you're being like, no, most of the time it's just really boring because part of homelessness is just not really having space to do anything or any social spaces people want you to be in. And I think she just goes over and starts looking over the case.
So you're looking over the case file of one Kenny Katiyanagi. They, them pronouns, a young musician. They seem to have taken to living on their own when they turned 18, or at least trying to. As you're looking it over, you see a few concerning things, like how the Harpy Initiative has reached out to this person multiple times. All have been declined. And the last place of residence before they started living on their own was a now defunct academy. It was the Helix Academy that unfortunately, maybe a few years ago, burned down.
Does this person have any like family that is just not choosing to be connected to them whatsoever, or anything of that sort? Or are they entirely
From what
alone?
you can see, they are entirely alone.
Okay. Does this person have any medication concerns or any other mental health issues that we need to get them situated with?
From what you can tell, no.
And what was the first name again? Just a double check.
Kenny.
Kenny Katiyanagi. Okay. They're not present at the shelter right now?
No.
We just haven't really heard from them. The case has been brought up, but we haven't heard from them as of yet.
You have not heard from them.
This is very strange.
In fact, as you're looking over the file and you're looking over the picture, it's this young Japanese person with a very cut short, like as if they cut it themselves, cut short hair with very violently green streaks.
Huh. Okay. Is there anything familiar about this individual?
As you're thinking back on the day that you got the news about Althea, there was a notification on your desktop about their case.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, wait, the name feels very familiar. And I was like, oh dear. I probably should have gotten to this a bit earlier. But, okay. Is there anyone else currently working at the shelter right now that I could talk to for more information on the case? Or anyone if there's any additional updates?
There is one person who looked over the case while Bryce was probably passed out, and that would be Molly.
Okay, I think she'll take some time to look over the case details in full. And I was curious, is it possible to, before going to go talk to Molly, is it possible to go to look through the file in full and see if there are any other cases of similar, like homeless disappearances happening? Because this seems odd.
Feel free to roll me an investigate check
Okay.
and suggest some power tags so you can get those sweet, sweet clues.
Okay. I was thinking desire to protect is relevant here because I
That's
think
one.
she's worried about it.
Hmm.
Navigating city bureaucracy is probably
That's
one.
two.
And would locations of homeless encampments work here as well to see? Because that would help her with.
Yes. Yes, it would actually.
Okay, so desire to protect,
So that is
navigating.
3 power.
That is 3 power. I, in terms of if there's anything weakness related as well, I'm leaning towards either chronic fatigue or desire to overextend herself because she's probably been running a lot, but I don't know if that's relevant to the role at this point in time.
I would say that this does not include the weakness tag, but and this is a point, and this is actually a point of order that I would love to bring up.
Yes.
Uh, Anytime I ask you to tag one of your weakness tags due to a certain situation, you get attention on that card. And attention, once you get 3 marks of attention, you can choose a bonus on the back of your cards.
Okay.
It's how you advance in this game. My
Yeah, that
apologies for not being clear about that.
yeah, that's what I figured. I wasn't sure in regards to weakness related
Mhm.
tagging whether or not that would be something you want to have more oversight over, or you want to collaborate and me suggesting possibilities for that. That's sort of the thing that I think we're helping clarify for ourselves right now.
I think I think in this case, doing the due diligence of trying to figure out what's going on with these people isn't overextending yourself.
Gotcha. That makes sense to me. So it will be investigate with
With
3
3 power.
power. So theoretically, that should go through on roll 20 if roll 20 likes me.
That is a great success. So you get
Oh,
to
wow.
spend your clues 1-to-1 to ask me a question about the subject of your investigation, or ask another player a relevant question about their character. They must give you either a straight answer or a solid lead. I can't mess with this. This is a great success. I can't.
Yeah.
So straight answers.
Okay, I think this lines up really well with going to go talk with Molly because
Hmm.
I think maybe that might be part of it is that like
Yeah.
she might be starting to like go through maybe a few other cases that seem similar,
Hmm.
but maybe gets the confirmation of like, has anyone heard from like X, Y, and Z over at I'm trying to think of you are more informed on location spots for this, but I'm kind of imagining there's at least 2 or 3 other major encampments probably that happen.
Hmm.
If there's a major bridge or an overpass of any kind, that would likely be good spots because I know folks tend to congregate where they can hide from rain and things of that sort.
Yeah. I think when it comes to the districts, one encampment is in Umbra Plaza, and 2 are in Bauble Falls.
Okay, so probably
The Gemstone Motel is also in Bauble Falls.
Bobble Falls. Yeah, I okay. I think she goes over to Molly, and this will be a sort of an in character question that she asks.
Yeah.
Um, hey Molly, uh,
Yeah.
um, thanks for helping. I assume watch over Bryce over this whole situation. It's been a bit of a rough one for me.
Yeah, no worries. What's up?
So I was looking over the Katiyanagi case that have obviously been a bit delayed on with getting to, given everything. But I was
My
wondering, have there?
condolences, by the way.
It's yeah, it's a big loss. She was a very important woman to the city for a lot of reasons, and that comes with
Also, between you and me, the whole thing If anyone asks about it, I'm not telling them shit.
I she
And I know damn well Bryce feels the same.
thanks, Molly. Um, I was curious though about the Katsuyanagi case. I guess I had a few thoughts. One is, have there been any other cases like this around any of the other encampments?
Let me see. And Molly will search for a few things. Like, from what I can tell, not really. Like, most of the other encampments are like people are accounted for. We hear from them daily, and it's just the Katsunagi case that's a little weird.
Have there been any increases in like pressure? I know the city doesn't really like homeless encampments in general. I like most cities doesn't like them, isn't going to do doesn't do anything to make sure they're not a thing outside of removing them.
Exactly.
But has there been any more attention lately? I know it's been a struggle trying to deal with some folks.
I know it wasn't really an encampment, but there was a group of kids that used to sort of like hide out near the park. That I was walking, I was walking my little, I was walking my little poodle there, and it seems that place has been completely cleared out, like it was sanitized, like nothing was there beforehand.
That's not good. They usually the- anytime encampments get cleared out, there's usually something big from the city happening. Do we have a game coming up? It's not a specific to the case related question. This is a general world question.
Not that I know of. The only thing I know of is some weird freaking bands from Washington coming to the Ceresi Theater.
Uh,
Think they're all like witchy and whatnot. It's not my gig, but I mean, if you're into it,
I someone I know is into it, which means I will probably be into it.
oh, look at you! Take a week off and you find love already. My God, Minerva,
It's it's not it's not love. It's just
a person to hold close at a concert.
sure if I'm lucky.
But yeah, whatever's happening, especially with that new Harpy initiative, it's a little weird. I know some of my cases, some of the kids were just like, "Oh no, we have a home now. It's with the Harpy Initiative. We're room and board, and they're teaching us what we couldn't be taught." So, and there's not much I can do about it if it's the police and it's a government thing, you know.
I guess for my last question that comes to mind about this case and how it relates to the other ones, maybe even the park, is have you heard of anything malicious or just not on the up and up when it comes to the Harpy Initiative and these folks? In any of these cases or anything related to the park?
Not if I haven't heard anything out and out malicious, but personally, all these flyers, all this advertisement, people just hopping up with Harpy Initiative and Harpy Academy hoodies. I don't know, something feels off to me personally. But from any of my former cases, they seem to be doing okay. They look healthier, better, which makes me feel kind of shitty about myself, but hey.
No, that's not on you to solve everything. We're at best a band-aid to to a problem that's a lot bigger than us. We're not meant to solve it. We're meant to be here and provide care. It's,
It just makes me wonder what the Harpy Initiative's bigger band aid is wanting to cover up.
that's what I'm worried about, to be honest. But thank you so much for the info, Molly. I'll see what's going on with any of the
No
park
worries,
stuff.
hon. If you need anything, just call.
I'll be sure to check in if I need someone to tell me to give me a look anytime I mention if the concert went well or not.
I will be asking you about that.
I assumed even if I didn't want you to, you would be.
I am gonna head home for the night. I'm
I,
gonna get a nice cup of coffee and type up some of these reports.
yeah, I do what you can. I know some folk have been adjusting a little weirdly to some of the changes, and we're sometimes convenient way for folks to express some of their problems. But I try not to hold it against them. They're dealing with a lot, and they're young.
We can only do what we can, Minerva.
I know. I
We
gotta.
can't fix everything, but what I do know is that wherever Kenny is, I'm glad they got Minerva on their side.
Thanks, Molly.
Take it easy, hun. And Molly will like sort of like grab her jacket and her scarf and just sort of like click clack out of the
Yeah, I was about to say,
shelter.
is there like a Fran Drescher like casual walk outside of the shelter and
Kinda,
everything?
yeah. Like her style is very like her style harkens back to like 70s business aesthetic, but like with
I'm
like
already
a
sold on this.
like a funner much more fun color palette. Molly is about like 5'3", like with 6-inch heels.
As in, she gets to 5'3" with 6-inch heels, or she's 5'3" at plus 6-inch heels.
Plus 6-inch heels.
Okay, okay. I was about to say, I'm like that, ma'am. You are a small bean. You you are who the word small SMOL was made for.
Look, Molly may be small, but she's ride or die.
You know what? You know what? I will happily take like full on like small but will fight you energy any day.
You currently have small but will fight you and just a really nice guy energy with rice
I think
and mad with personal vendetta against seagulls.
joy. Um I think
The perfect team for the perfect crime.
I think she will spend whatever time is necessary to keep looking at the case and see if she can find any sort of way to get in contact with Kenny. And if is unsuccessful in doing so, we'll just try and work out the whole shift, partially to shift attention over to someone else in the team, and also to see like,
Kenny does have a cell phone listed,
huh,
but and you would know this from working with Kenny in the past. It's a bit unreliable.
it's cell phone. I'm not expecting a teenager or even a young adult to actively want to answer to anything that's not someone they immediately
That's
know.
fair, but with a cell phone number, there's a lot of things you could do with that. Especially with especially with an AI. But as Minerva discusses the moral compunctures of trying to protect people in her head, I'm going to flip a coin. Gorgeous. Kate, as Fern has already left for his meeting with Detective Costas, you're walking out of Cohen's. It's the sun is beginning to set. It's well, actually, it's around noon, so it'd be around 3. Never mind, the sun is high. Sun is high in the sky. Whoopsie. Time. um, so you're just chilling out. You're walking, like everything's fine. You know, it's a chill day. You don't know what you're gonna do yet, but you could do a lot of things. And then a black car pulls up beside you.
No. Uh, uh, Kate is stuck in that moment between wanting to freeze and try and hide and run off, but neither is going to work, and she knows this. And I think she would just stare straight ahead at what's in front of her and just stop and wait for the person in the car.
The passenger side window in the front of the car sort of like rolls down, and you hear a voice. I was wondering when you'd return.
I mean, if you've set this up, this is a very good way to get me back in town. Is that your plan this time?
I'm only here to take you to someone who would wish to speak with you. After all, it's been a very long time, hasn't it?
It's been a very long time. I would rather not go with you. If we can arrange that.
One moment. And Sylvester Hemlock pulls his phone out of his. He looks like a limo driver. He is in like the full. Like,
no.
you get the vibe that he's not enjoying this either.
That's
that
good.
he's used to being the one being driven around, not the one driving. He pulls out his phone and sort of like texts a quick message and sends it. And across the street, a second black car pulls up. Different driver.
Thank you.
Oh, don't thank me. After all, you're going to have a very hard conversation, aren't you?
Yep.
Do your little family members know about you? About who you really are? Or have you been lying to them too?
There's a difference between lying and simply not completing the story. And you know that.
Of course, I taught you.
You did.
Well, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, Barbara. The window rolls up, and Sylvester drives away.
I very quickly just send out with my mind this zap of a fuck you after the car.
You feel as if a barrier just as strong as you remember rebuffs it. And in response, you're going to have to try harder than that, Bunny.
I take a second and I feel I take what Sylvester taught me and pull from the middle of my forehead and make this wall and build this great red wall. Just obviously not that anybody else can see, just my mental wall. And I use it like a shield.
For the audience as a visual effect.
Yes. And walk across the street to the other car. Just squared shoulders, gonna do this, but inside I could feel my stomach just roiling, and this is not what I want to do today. Not today.
You get into the back of the car, and the car drives you to the district of Diamond Hill. The glittering lights start to... Well, they don't start to come alive. It's still the daytime. This district seems a bit more... How can I put this? It seems lifeless during the day. It's dead. Not in an ethereal way in which it can make you ask a lot of things like a cemetery or perhaps a Bed Bath & Beyond at 3 in the morning. No, this... things have changed. Because... well... multiple reasons, let's say. You soon arrive at a wrought iron gate, standing before a lovely mansion. Just beautifully taken care of. The driver gets the okay, the gates open, and as you pull in, the driver turns back to you and goes, "Welcome home, Miss Newman."
Thank you. Thank you. You can just call me Kate. No.
Okay, Kate.
Thank you. Kate just stops for a second and like the fear and everything is starting to come in. And she takes much longer than she should to get out of the car. Even after the door has been opened for her.
Mm-hmm. And the driver sort of like leans in and goes, "Are you okay, miss?"
I'll be fine. Thank you for asking. It's hard coming home, you know? After it's been a while, you don't know how people will treat you.
I understand that very well, miss. Miss Newman is still waiting for you. And that hits you. Miss Newman. Not Mrs. And as you look around, you don't see your father's car.
Kind of spurred on by this knowledge, Kate goes up the steps and into the house. And then quickly realize she calls back to the driver. Where did you say my mother was?
In the sitting room, miss.
Thank you. And Kate starts to run, but quickly holds back and walks as quickly as she can to the sitting room. And of course, she knows her mother can hear her coming. Like her shoes echo. Everybody's shoes echo in this house.
They do. And as you're looking around, there aren't as many. There's not as much staff as there was before. It seems that the staff has been reduced over the time that you were away. Some of the familiar faces are still there, and yet some new ones pop up here and there. They all regard you with friendly smiles and sort of warmth as you pass, but they don't say anything to you.
Honestly, I would nod to them, but coldly. I mean, Kate's got other things on her mind, but she's been taught well enough to acknowledge those who acknowledge you. But she keeps that wall up.
And so you enter the sitting room. And within it, Margot Newman, and that is Margot spelled Margeaux. Margot Newman with graying hair pulled up into a rather intricate but lovely bun. in a flowing silk. We'll just say a flowing silk dress, having her tea, completely insulated from the cold outside. You stand in the doorway, and as if acknowledging your presence, she places her tea down. You are oriented behind her.
Hello, Mother.
Is that Snake with you?
No, it's just me.
Fantastic, I don't have to put on the charade. And she stands up, a little less haughtily than before, than what you remember. Her heels clack against the wooden floors. She turns to see you, and there's a lot in her gaze. Not only is there this feeling of my daughter is back, but there's also shame and worry, and maybe something else. She steps
So,
closer to you and stops as once you are a few feet apart from each other. That haircut suits you, dear. I like it.
I did it myself with a kitchen knife. Thank you. We don't really have beauticians where I'm living now. Thank you. Kind of have to do everything ourselves.
All completely fair
Is it?
and warranted.
Hmm.
Now, shall we sit, or would you like for me to give you more space to sling any more well deserved barbs at me? After all, I haven't seen you in 6 years.
You didn't really see me before that either, but yes, let's sit down. I'd rather keep these barbs, evenly spaced.
Such is the Newman way. And Margot sits and she looks at you. Tea,
Yes, please.
do you still take it as you used to?
Just, I will take it, plain, please.
All right. Margot pours the tea. You can see a little shake to her hands as she hands you the cup and sits down. She
Thank
does
you.
not pick her own cup up. I hear you've been going by a different name.
I have simply been going by my name, but not my first name. It's hard to be taken seriously being called Bunny.
It is almost as bad as people mocking me with how my mother spelled Margot.
No, no, I don't think so. Cause your name is a real name. Bunny is an animal, which is, you know, how you treated me for my whole life, just as a little pet.
You do have the more space, I'll give you that. Would you like me to lead with the good news or the bad news?
I would just like to know why you sent him to get me.
Because I knew if I sent anyone else, you'd ignore them. And though I don't know a lot or all of the things, I know a snake when I see one. I'm just sorry I did not see him for who he was sooner. But by that point, you were with Althea, and I trusted Althea. Althea had integrity. She had passion, she had drive, she had all the things I didn't.
Is this an apology? Is this really your apology?
Well, my dear, I'm not finished.
Kate kind of shrinks back in her chair, just hearing that tone in her mother's voice for the first time in a long time, but it doesn't matter how old you are. There's always one of us that gets you.
And I think seeing you shrink, she softens. I knew I'd be bad at this. I'll put it to you bluntly then. Your father died last year. Heart attack. All that stress and all that hatred in his heart finally got him, I suppose. And the reason why I did not contact you was mainly due to him.
It's easy to blame the dead. Why didn't you contact me when he died? Because it's... He doesn't control you once he's dead.
We'd like to think that, wouldn't we? We like to think that once someone has gone and someone is dead, that they have no more control, no more bindings, no more ropes on any of us. But Kate, you know as well as I do that that is not the truth.
Thank you for using Kate.
It suits you better than Bunny anyway.
Thank you. And you're right. You're right. Clearly, I wouldn't have come back if that wasn't true.
I had to fight with him to leave you that card. He wanted to throw you wherever he could. But thankfully, Constance had another idea. And I don't have the right to ask you for anything nearing forgiveness. But what I can do is explain things to you. And hope that after this, you make your own choices a bit more well-informed.
Kate sits there frozen. I mean, she came in expecting a fight. She expected the screaming and the yelling that always accompanied these mother-daughter talks behind closed doors. And so I think the openness and surprisingly soft caring that her mother is showing has really taken aback, has her taken aback, and she...
It's like that hypothetical situation just took Kate and threw her for a literal loop.
Yes! Just yeet!
Skinny papa.
So, sitting there frozen, she's like, I am willing to listen.
Thank you for being willing to listen. As I've said, Reginald was a particular man. He grew with money, lived with money, entrance some of us with money. And she sort of like, you kind of see that sort of like looking back at a younger self and going, you like, I think Kate can have like a bit of an open frequency with this. And just this thought comes by that's just like, you silly, silly fool. Like looking back at herself. He thought that being as cold as we were was the right thing to do. It would bring you up to be strong and tough and, well, I didn't have the fire that you do, that Althea did. I didn't contact you because what was I going to say? Hi, Kate. I know that the past 20 something years of my failure as a caregiver and provider in your life probably shaped you in ways that I regret. Can you ever forgive me? And all the while, I looked at that phone knowing I had your number, and I could just hear Reginald going, well, just going. And so I've called you here because now Althea is gone and you're back in town for as long as you wish. I'm not going to keep you. I can't. And that's why I want you to sign this. Then she pulls out a folder, opens it. It has my signature. It would end your conservatorship. You would have access to your funds. No more holds, no more bonds. Nothing. I can't hold you, Kate. And neither can he.
Kate, Kate takes the folder like it's on fire, like so gingerly, and looks at it and, Mother, is this a trick? Again.
I'm too old for tricks, my dear.
May I take some time to read this?
Of course. No strings.
There's always strings.
Well, I would hope that with the signing of that paper, the only one controlling your strings in this situation would be you.
Um,
As for the estate, well, it is still mine.
I would hope he would have left you at least that.
Now, Reginald was a lot of things, but litigious was not one of them. And I knew how to cover my own back. It's a talent Newman women share.
Very true.
I suppose it's time for the bad news.
I don't think that there's much bad news that can get me, so go ahead.
3 years.
3 years of what?
Of me. Left.
And why is that?
The doctors and their funky little sciences found something in my mind. It can't be dealt with. 3 years is the estimate.
In your mind? Is this a tumor?
She just nods. Consider it the thoughts of a person looking at the end, but I wanted to make sure that you had what you needed to move forward. And for all the harm I've done, the mistakes I've made, the things I could have stopped. That this doesn't make it even, but it does make something.
Kate remains passive as far as her expression, but inside there is that little nagging devil part of her brain that says, oh, that's karma, bitch, isn't it? That I have to deal with this, and now you get to deal with that. And very quickly, Kate realizes, oh God, that thought's back. That little part of my brain is back, and this is triggering that, and I need to get out of here. So she places the folder into her, let's be honest, very oversized purse, and puts her hands around the teacup that's still warm and says, I am sorry to hear that, Mother. It is unfortunate. But I don't know if this is not enough for me to forgive you. And if you are... Ooh, Kate just stops. She lets go of the wall. The wall comes crashing down in her mind, and she centers in on her mother and just pries in to see if she's lying to her.
It is not a lie.
It's not a lie.
Everything that she has said to you has been truth.
Well, now Kate feels like an asshole. Does Kate's mother feel that invasion, which I'm sure is a familiar feeling, because
If she does not let it show.
okay. I will need some time. I don't know if it will be within the time that you have. And for that, I'm sorry.
I understand. Before you go, and she stands and she goes to a nearby, a nearby little chest, and she opens it and she pulls out this cameo, this sort of like a cameo necklace. I wanted to give this to you before you left, but well, I don't know if it would have mattered either way. And she hands it to you, and It is this beautiful cameo of a nightingale. I'd rather you have this.
Thank you.
And I'm aware that I've done many unforgivable things to you. All of this, the paperwork, the necklace, this. And she sort of like gestures around wildly. It's not for you to forgive me.
Then what's it for?
It's for what Newman women do best. Move forward. Carrie will take you wherever you would like to go. He's still waiting for you outside. Take all the time you need.
Thank you, Mother.
I'm not going to ask you for a hug. That's a bit too trite.
Thank you. Would you help me put on the necklace so that I don't lose it?
And she sort of like inhales deeply through her nose and a single tear falls as she helps you put on the necklace.
Kate.
Now go before I ruin my makeup, my dear.
Yes. Kate picks up her bag
And give Constance my love. Out of all the people to lose someone, she did not deserve it. And she
None of
turns
us
away,
did.
and you can see another tear as she walks out of the sitting room.
Whew. Kate walks back out front and looks for a car because she needs to get the hell out of there.
And Carrie is still there.
Kate waves them down and has to be taken to where Constance is at the foundation.
Right away, miss. On the next episode of Heroes of New Halcyon, a City of Mist game.
Yeah, Detective, we just looked at all your socials.
And if what I think means what I think it means, then I may be privy to a lot of information I shouldn't be. I know in my heart of hearts that Garrett would not do something like this. So, Fern, with the prospect of losing yet another person, fight or flight? Thank you for listening to Heroes of New Halcyon, a City of Mist game for Crendimented Actual Plays. This episode was recorded in Riverside.fm and edited in Audacity, with music and sound effects from Epidemic Sound. This podcast is produced, edited, and GM'd by Caleb Wade. Our performers are Angela Motovejo, The Real Ash Gamer, Alana Wolfgang Duran, and absent from episodes 9 and 10, but not absent from our hearts, Theta Chun. Links to where you can find everyone will be in the description below. If you'd like to follow the podcast, feel free to follow us on Twitter at creme_demented. That is CREME_DEMENTED. If you enjoyed this podcast and would like to support us, please consider rating, reviewing, and subscribing on your podcatcher of choice. We will be back in 2 weeks, so keep your head on a swivel, and we hope to see you for the next episode.